Let's get going here. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Week 2 of NFL Player Props Live here on Guy Boston Sports. We'll start at 9:30 a.m. We're a few minutes behind schedule, but no big deal. Welcome back to everybody who tuned in last week. Welcome to people who are joining in for the first time. Normally I would usually do like a regular player prop video like I do from the rest of my videos. This year I decided we're going to go live. So I think it's the best way to go about it. I'm really excited for it. This is my second time ever going live. So like I mentioned last week, guys, bear with me because I'm still learning the ins and outs, the ups and downs of going live here. So all I'm asking for is some patience in this time, but we're going to have fun. We're going to be on for at least an hour, I would say. Last week we did an hour and a half. I don't think I'll be on necessarily that long, but we're going to be on for at least an hour. I'm going to give some time here to go ahead and let people trickle in. If you watched last week's, it was a little more chaotic. I didn't really have a good handle in terms of how it was going to go. So this week, we are going to go ahead and have a little more structure to the video. I do have some player props already prepared for you guys. So how this stream is going to work is I'm going to give like 5-10 minutes, let some people trickle in. Obviously, it's early in the morning. I have advertised a little bit better this week than last week that we're going live. So I'm going to give like 5-10 minutes here, kind of let people trickle in. In the meantime, throw out your questions. Save your player prop suggestions and questions for a little later in the video, just so they don't get lost in the chat. Any just general questions on spread picks, moneyline totals, or just general non-sports questions, sports questions, this is your time to just kind of fire it when ready in terms of your questions. We're going to give like 5-10 minutes, let people trickle in while I kind of get things set up here and ready to go. And then I'll go ahead and present the player props that I have. And then after I do that, I'm going to open the floor and you guys can flood the chat with all of your suggestions, the player props you want me to look up for you guys, my suggestion on player props, all that stuff. I'll give you guys at least half an hour to do that. And then we'll finish up the stream with some community parlays. We'll do an anytime touchdown parlay. We'll do maybe another parlay, a couple parlays there. So that's kind of the format. So like I said, I'm going to give like 5-10 minutes, let people kind of make their way into the stream, and then we'll kind of get started. I'll present the player props that I already have prepared beforehand, and then we'll kind of get going here. So like I said, bear with me, still learning some stuff here with the chat. Here we go. Yeah, buddy, caught in 2 seconds. Big win day. Yeah, I'm excited. Last week was a bit of a rough week. I mean, for the player prop perspective, we did okay. I mean, I do apologize last week. I didn't post the picks afterwards. I will make sure today that the picks will be posted post-stream. So that is my guarantee to you guys. So you guys, if you do miss the stream or you came in late, I'll make sure to go ahead and plug all the picks into a blog on GuyBostonSports.com, and I'll make sure to go ahead and share that on the YouTube channel. Looking a little rough here, the camera. Jeez, I just woke up. Sunday's my day off from the restaurant, so I did wake up a little late today. I was hoping to get up a little earlier and get a little more prepared, but was a little bit late today, so apologies if I look like I just rolled out of bed. I did just roll out of bed. Let's see, first, yep, you definitely got first. Congratulations. Good morning to you. Like I said, yeah, guys, we're going to let people trickle in here. I'm going to go ahead and work on some stuff, getting things set up for you guys, and then we'll proceed with the picks. Let's see here. Where is the stream? All right, we are live. That much we know for sure. All right, and I will try to do a better job of moderating the chat today as well, because I know yesterday or last week was a bit of a disaster with the chat. So let's see. Yep. All right. Let's go. Yeah, let's go, man. Like, I'm excited. I had a lot of fun last week. Like I said, that was my first time ever really going live. So, a learning curve for sure. But I was really having a great time last week. I thought it was a fun time. I'm excited to do this every Sunday. This is the plan now. Every Sunday we're going to be doing this. So, looking forward to that. All right. Let's see what we're working on here. Browns versus Green Bay spread. I think the Browns can cover with that defense. That's a tough one. I do like Green Bay a lot in that spot. There are sometimes, and there's not really math to back this up, I do think there's these instances where it's like, a spread's too easy. Like, everyone's on the Packers. It's such an obvious thing. And I just feel like everybody's going to be on Green Bay. But I'm being honest, the Browns defense is really good. The question is, can their offense do anything against that Packers defense? I mean, that Packers defense is shutting down good teams, let alone the Browns. So that would be my big question mark there. But I do feel pretty confident in the Packers covering, even though it's a big spread. If anything, buy a point off of it, and I think you'll be in a better position there. Let's see what else. Good morning to you. Green Bay has that game versus Browns. Any good player props for Steelers? Yeah, we're going to go through it. We're going to go through all the player props. And like I said, I mentioned it at the top of the stream. I'm going to start off giving my player props that I have already kind of prepared beforehand. And then after that, I'm going to open the floor, and you guys can go ahead and send all your suggestions for player props. And we'll kind of go like we did last week. I'll go through, look them up, kind of give my thoughts on those. So we'll go look through some Steelers props after for you, Aaron. Yeah, the Ravens cooked. Green Bay should. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Baltimore really, really destroyed them last week. But that's also part of the reason why I'm afraid because, I mean, it just seems too easy, right? And sometimes in sports betting, when they look so easy like that, it can be a bit difficult. So that's where I'm like apprehensive with that because on paper, if the Packers were 13.5 point favorites, I would take Green Bay. But it's a tough spot. It's tricky for sure. So we're gonna have to think about that one. But I think Green Bay because I think what's the spread now? 8.5. I think that's probably the way to go. Well, again, we'll see. We'll see. We'll think about that one. But I definitely lean Green Bay in that one. I think everyone should lean Green Bay. That's a good teaser spot. That's a really good. If you got, I know a lot of people aren't into teasers. That's a really good teaser spot. All right. And I apologize if I'm not looking at the camera. I am trying to just get everything set up here on the YouTube side of things, as well as getting our player prop screen set up here. Get our thumbnail uploaded, get everything looking professional, because we are professional. Or try to be at least. Let's see what we got going on here in the chat. Good to be early. Yeah, listen. It's it's the one day I can sleep in, but my body's just like, nope, you're not sleeping in today. So I mean, my sleeping in is sleeping until 8:30. That's my sleeping in. There is no. I don't remember the last time I slept past 8:30. I was probably in early college or late high school. So it's 8:30 is as late as you're gonna get. All right, let's keep getting everything set up here. All right, the Cowboys look good on paper, don't perform the way they should. Yeah, the Cowboys are a risky one. I do like Dallas this week, though. I like Dallas better than I like Green Bay. It's kind of the same principle where it's like Chicago looks so poor right now. I think everybody's going to be on Dallas in that situation. Do you go with the Dallas? Do you go with the public play, or do you fade it? I mean, that's the question, but we'll see. The late games got me shook. Feels like Ravens Chiefs should pull it off, but these primetime games seem crazy with the refs. Yeah, primetime's been a bit of and the games have been a little weird too, in the sense that like we have Chiefs Giants tonight, both 0-2 teams, and again the Chiefs seem like the obvious play. And spoiler for my Sunday Night Football video, I picked the Chiefs tonight, but I'm gonna be honest, like that's still a risky one. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting for sure. It's gonna be very interesting. All right, guys. Like I said, giving a couple more minutes, letting people get into the live stream here while I get things all set up and ready to go. Like I said, right now, shout out any general questions you guys have. And again, we'll kind of save your player prop questions for later on in the video. All right, just like I said, getting everything set up for the YouTube. The links set into our description. Make sure, by the way, guys, check out all those. We have a lot of great sponsor deals and promo codes down below. So make sure to check out the description of the stream in a minute when I get everything uploaded. We got a lot of great offers down there. All right, that should be good. Let's go ahead and save that. Oops, it's week 3, not week 2. I have to go ahead and fix that a second. All right, top of the morning. Yeah, top of the morning to you too. Like I said, I got over 47.5, minus 115 in the Dallas game. It's going to be a shootout. That's what everybody thinks, though, and that's what I'm talking about. Where I say like it's kind of a risky thing because everybody I know is on the over. Everybody, including myself. I do also like the over in that spot. But I'm going to be straight up honest with you. It just seems like such an obvious thing, right? Both those defenses have not looked very good. The Cowboys' offense has been incredible. The Bears' offense has done enough, at least, where you're like, hey, they could score some points. But I'm telling you, it's risky. It's very risky. Very risky. Even though it should be a simple, it seems like it would be a simple one. It's definitely on the riskier side. All right. Like I said, guys, just getting everything set up here. Almost ready to go. And then we'll start I'll present some of my player props here that I had beforehand. I don't have as many as I was hoping for. I do have a few that I picked beforehand. So I'm going to go ahead and share those. 'Cause I know last week someone had mentioned in the stream that they wanted me to keep giving out some of my picks, as well as you guys going ahead and let's see my picks. Let's go ahead and see what we got here. And like I said, I do apologize for people who are in the stream. I know this isn't the most interesting start to the stream, but we're just kind of getting things set up here. I do actually have a few player props for that Bears-Cowboys game that I'm going to share with you guys in a minute or two here. That I do really, really like. I think it's a good player prop game if things go according to plan in terms of the game itself. So I got some pretty good player props there. Getting everything loaded up here on the outlier screen. And then, like I said, we'll give you guys a good amount of time to go ahead and give all of your suggestions, everything that you guys want me to look at, anything you want me to go ahead and add to the card. I'll be pretty picky about what gets added to the card because obviously what gets added to our betting card gets shared with everybody. So I don't want to just throw everything on there. We're going to be a little particular here. Last week I got kind of bullied into Marvin Harrison Jr., and even though I knew I didn't want it, and he obviously laid a stinker last week. Don't really know what the Cardinals are doing with that. I don't know if it's a Marvin Harrison thing or that's just a Cardinals mismanagement thing, but we'll find out as the weeks go on. DB injury for the Bears. I'm on Giants plus 6.5. Listen, I mean, the Chiefs don't look great. They don't, but it's the Chiefs, Sunday Night Football. They're going to get some extra calls their way. The whole world, I talked about this in my Sunday Night Football video. The whole world thinks the sky's falling for the Chiefs, right? And then they get a Sunday Night Football game against a Giants team that's 0-2. The difference is the Chiefs are 0-2 because they played the Chargers and the Eagles. The Giants have played, the Commanders and Cowboys aren't pushover teams necessarily, but I think it's just a perfect teed-up spot for Mahomes and the Chiefs and Reed and all them to go ahead and win a primetime game and kind of tell everybody we're still here, even though I think they do have legitimate issues. I think a lot of people are going to be on the Giants. I mean, that's interesting. My thing is the Giants offense, yeah, they look good against the Cowboys, but how good are they going to be? How good are they going to be, Raining in Chicago. Raining doesn't always mean the under. The raining could help the over in some situations, depending on the rain. Bijan Rush and receiving yards. Will Warren receiving yards. We'll go through all these later on when I open the floor here. So I think we'll go ahead and just get started, honestly. Chiefs due. That's my thing. The Chiefs are due. I think everybody is so low on them right now. And I think they're going to go ahead and take care of business, if I'm being honest. I really do. I think it's the perfect. It's a weird. I'm going to be. I don't know why this is a Sunday Night Football game. I don't know who in the scheduling department said, what would be a great Sunday Night Football game? Giants Chiefs. Did anyone really think that the Giants were going to be that good of a team this year? Because I never did. I mean, I don't know. Is Russell Wilson that much of a ratings pull at this point in his career? I mean, I guess New York, obviously big market, but I don't know. I personally would. I think Lions-Ravens. I know Ravens were just on Sunday Football a couple weeks ago, but I think they would be. That Lions-Ravens Monday night game is going to be fantastic. Ev kind of got a deal on that one. That's a great Monday Night Football game. All right, going ahead here, just gonna get my last few things plugged in, and then we'll good to go. We'll be good to go, and we'll kind of, like I said, I have not as many player props as I was hoping for. I was hoping to have like 6-7 props. Unfortunately, schedule was a little tight this week, so I did get a couple prepped, but we do not have as many as I was hoping for coming into the stream. Cardinals just booty. Murray was tripping wearing a Vicks jersey. Yeah, I did see that. I saw that he had a dog in the picture too, didn't he? He had a dog there too. That was interesting. That was interesting to say the least. I don't know if I necessarily would have done that myself, but Let's see. Got $1,000 on Rams plus 8.5 game total, alternate over 36.5. Houston money line plus 262. Where did you get Houston money line at plus 262? Can we do a money line parlay? We can do that. I don't mind. I don't mind doing that. We obviously our focus here is player props, but I mean I don't mind doing a money line parlay. Let's go back to this one real quick. Gabriel, is Houston really plus 262 on the money line? Because I don't. If that's the case, I mean I'm hammering that. I think they're going to win today. That's plus 262 is crazy value. I'll have to check that out. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but if that is the case, that's a juicy play that I definitely will be taking a look at. All right, guys, I think we're just about ready to go here. Like I said, last minute, just getting some last minute stuff. It's been like 15 minutes. I said 10 minutes to get people in. It's now been 15 minutes. You guys, I'm going to start losing people if we don't get started here. So let me go ahead and get going. Just finishing some last second stuff on Outlier here, trying to make sure everything is good to go. One last thing, and then we'll be on our way here. Looking for one more. Where was the last one that I had? Oh, that's the one. Yep. That's the odds are not good enough. No, we'll throw it in there too. All right. We're ready to go. We're ready to go here. It's a parlay. It's a parlay. Oh, the parlay is plus 262. Gotcha. I was gonna say, I'm like, if you're getting Houston money line for plus 262, I don't know. Did CJ Stroud get hurt? Did they lose somebody? I wear my Terrell Owens 81 Cowboys jersey every Sunday. Yeah, look, one thing that here we go. We gotta hide this user. There we go. I'm figuring out how to moderate the stream here for the first time. Let's go ahead, do that. All right, I think we're getting there on the stream. I don't know how to remove. Like I said, we're still learning how to moderate here. Get rid of all these comments. We're already doing better than last week, though, in terms of getting rid of these stupid spam comments. All right. I lost my train of thought there. Putting money on Houston feels sweaty. It does, but the Jaguars, I don't trust them. Evan, you were a line on Cowboys money line at HGH, but his video he just posted had Bears winning. How do you feel about it on game day? I still like Cowboys. We were on H2H. He obviously switched, but I still like the Cowboys. I just don't trust the Bears. I don't think their defense or offense right now look good enough to win a game where the Cowboys offense just keeps going. And I think the Bears defense has some legitimate problems. So I am definitely on the Cowboys there. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get started here. We waited long enough. You guys have been very patient. I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and talk some player props. So I have 4 player props to share with you guys in today's video that I have prepared for you already. So I'll share those 4 player props. We'll kind of go through why I like them. And then once I finish, the floor is yours. You guys can start spamming the chat with all of your player prop suggestions. So here we go. Let's go ahead and share my screen here. Again, still learning the ins and outs of this, and I think that should be good to go. All right, I think we're sharing the screen now. All right, so here we go. Our first player prop that we're talking about in today's video, we have Bengals Vikings 1 p.m. kickoff on Sunday today, of course. I'm going with Jordan Mason over 96.5 rushing plus receiving yards against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm grabbing this for minus 113 over on DraftKings, so pretty good value. If you guys don't have DraftKings, you can just go ahead and adjust the line slightly, and you should be able to find it on other sports books. You see here 98.5. You can grab that on BetMGM, Hard Rock Bet, Prize Picks, Underdog. If you go ahead and adjust it to 94.5, you get it on Flip. So a couple different options. I'm taking it for 96.5 over on DraftKings. You can get it on FanDuel 99.5. It's plus money too, just for 3 extra yards. Now, at first glance, guys, the data is not going to be very good on this player prop because Jordan Mason obviously hasn't really been a feature back. He's kind of been the guy who, in injury circumstances like last year with the 49ers, when McCaffrey goes down, he kind of gets put into place here. But this is a really good spot for Jordan Mason based off of matchup, based off of circumstance. So looking at 2025 so far for him now as a member of the Minnesota Vikings, again, the numbers on the lower side. He had 7 receiving yards and 68 rushing yards. against the Bears in Week 1, Monday Night Football. And then last week, Sunday Night Football, he had 8 receiving yards and 30 rushing yards. But to be totally fair to him, looking down below here, now the Vikings have been a pretty good running team. They run the ball the majority of the time. That's obviously very good here for this position. Now, he only has 4 targets through 2 weeks, and only 9.8% target share. That's going to change, and we'll talk about that in a second. And rushing attempts, he actually has been the lead running back, 53.3% run share. Aaron Jones obviously is hurt, and that's the key here, right? Aaron Jones is out. If we go to the injury report on the right side of the screen, let's see, show all injured. Ty Chandler, the other running back, also out. Fullback C.J. Ham is out, but there it is. Aaron Jones on injured. Well, I don't know if he's actually on injured reserve, but he's out for this game. Whoops. All right, what happened there? Computer lied for a second. So Aaron Jones is out. So that's the key thing here, right? He is by far the lead back. Now, he already has been getting the majority of the carries, but also J.J. McCarthy, who also got a healthy amount of rushes, he's out. So these two guys, the second and third most run players on this team, they are both out in this game. So this is Jordan Mason's time to shine. He's going to get more targets. They have Carson Wentz in at quarterback because J.J. McCarthy is out. So they're already a run-heavy team to begin with. You think they're going to abandon that and throw the football 30-plus times with Carson Wentz? I just don't see it. And I'm a Wentz guy. I was somebody who defended Carson Wentz when a lot of people were down on him. I just think that the Vikings, they've already been kind of running a conservative offense when J.J. McCarthy was in, right? Being a little more run-heavy. I think you're going to see the same thing here, maybe more so. Jordan Mason's going to get a ton of touches on the football. He's going to get a lot of carries, and then they're going to heavily utilize him in the passing game here. And based off the matchup, it makes sense. So the Bengals this year, rushing yards allowed, they actually aren't terrible. They're a top 10 defense in terms of rushing yards allowed per game. Receiving yards allowed per game, however, they are bottom 4, bottom 5 in the NFL. If we narrow this down to the running back position, they're a neutral matchup in terms of rushing yards allowed. They're giving up 83 yards per game to opposing running backs. It's a neutral position. And you look at the receiving yards allowed to running backs, bottom 4. They're 29th in the NFL, giving up almost 56 receiving yards per game to the running back position. If we go down below here and we look and see what some running backs have been doing against the Bengals, Travis Etienne last week, his line was 73.5 rushing plus receiving yards. He had 89. Jerome Ford didn't hit his line, but Dylan Sampson did. 54.5 rushing plus receiving yards for the Browns. He had 93. So you've seen a couple of these running backs cashing their lines. The starting backs, the top backs. Now, I guess Jerome Ford technically would be the top back, but Dylan Sampson and Travis Etienne, 2 running backs, have already cashed their lines this season against Cincinnati. So it seems to be a good matchup. They're going to lean on him heavy in this game. They have no choice but to lean on him. I don't think you want to trust Carson Wentz, who hasn't started a game in years at this point, to go ahead and lead your offense in a game where the Vikings don't necessarily need to win, but they're 1-1. You look at the state of the NFC North, the Lions, they had a big win last week. The Packers obviously are dominant. The NFC, some good teams in the NFC. You know, the Cardinals are 2-0, Rams are 2-0, Niners are 2-0, Seahawks are 1-0. Now, it's very early in the season, but my point being, you can't afford to fall behind in a game where you're playing the Bengals when they don't have Joe Burrow. This is a game the Vikings have to take advantage of because the schedule doesn't get easier for Minnesota. It gets tougher. Okay, you haven't even played the Packers yet. You haven't played the Lions yet. You have the rest of your NFC schedule to look at, your AFC schedule to look at. So I think this is a spot where Minnesota kind of needs to go ahead and take advantage. You still got the Ravens coming up. You got the Steelers on the schedule. You know, I think they have to take advantage of this game. And it's not a must-win spot by any means, but I think it's a spot where they do need the win in general. They got to take advantage of the Bengals' injuries and the state that they're currently in. So, Bengals defense, don't really have a lot of faith in them. I think Jordan Mason gets a ton of touches in this game. They're going to utilize him in the passing and the rushing game. So 96.5, it's a bit of a high line. I know the data doesn't necessarily support it, but I'm telling you guys, I really like the spot for Jordan Mason over 96.5 rushing plus receiving yards. I just think it's a really good line, and for minus 113, the value, it's certainly there. So I really like that a lot. So that's our first player prop we're going to go ahead and share in today's video. Our second player prop that we'll go ahead. And by the way, guys, if you are watching today's video, go ahead and show some love in the chat. If you're watching, if you're riding, what you guys think of the picks, make sure to go ahead and hit that in the comment section. Send some hearts, send some love in the comment section. All right, second player prop that I have prepared for you guys here. Talking about Cowboys Bears, I told you guys I do have a couple player props in that game that I really, really like. And this is one that I'm really excited to talk about is Rome Odunze over 62.5 receiving yards. I'm grabbing this for minus 115 over on BetMGM. And it's a really good spot. Rome Odunze has been very consistent this year for the Bears. And what's been surprising to me, if we scroll down here, is how much he's been targeted in this offense. He is far and away the guy that Caleb Williams trusts when throwing the football. And obviously, I think coming into the year, you would think DJ Moore's wide receiver one, he'd be the most targeted guy. It's been Odunze, okay? 20 targets. He currently owns just shy of a 30% target share in this Bears offense. So first and foremost, he's getting a healthy amount of looks. That's important in this spot. We also have, though, it's a really, really good matchup for Odunze. Okay, overall, the Dallas Cowboys right now 30th in the NFL, giving up 301 passing yards or receiving yards allowed per game, I should say. But that's obviously passing yards as well. We go to the Cowboys defense here. Passing yards allowed 30th in the NFL. So this is a bottom 3 pass defense in the NFL in terms of yards allowed in the passing game. That's obviously very important. We're talking about a wide receiver receiving yards prop. So going over the wide receiver spot, okay? This is individually receiving yards allowed to the wide receiver position through 2 weeks. The Cowboys are the worst team in the NFL. Now, that Giants game from last week is obviously going to skew that data a bit. But even in their week 1 game versus the Eagles, where they didn't really throw the ball that much, their receiving defense wasn't great. Their passing defense, I should say, wasn't great. But they gave out a lot of yards last week. They're dead last. Again, skews the numbers a little bit. But what also helps our case here, they got a lot of injuries in the secondary. Deron Bland, out. Josh Butler, out. Jalen Carson, out. Trayvon Diggs, knee injury. He is questionable. So even if he plays, though, he has an illness, it says. But there's a knee thing. So I don't really know what. It says knee, but then it says he's questionable with an illness. But they are desperate in the secondary. Their secondary is banged up to all hell. Not very good when you're taking on the Bears, where Rome Odunze has been playing very, very well. So it seems in all accounts is a very good matchup for Rome Odunze. Okay? Very good numbers in terms of the wide receivers versus the Cowboys. Overall, the Cowboys' pass defense hasn't been great. And again, we're getting it for minus 115 over on BetMGM. Now, if you don't have BetMGM, you can go ahead and adjust it slightly. Actually, 61.5. You can get on FanDuel for minus 112. So we'll switch that. What did I have it for? 62? Yeah, 62. No, 61.5 so we'll take it. So I'll take it at 61.5. We'll go ahead and adjust that. So I had it at 62. I'm actually going to take the extra yard off, which doesn't make a huge difference. Not really, but we're getting better value here at minus 112 on FanDuel. So there you go. So Rome Odunze over 61.5 receiving yards. And he has cashed it in 1 of 2 games. He had 128 receiving yards last week versus Detroit. Now, he only had 37 yards in week 1 versus Minnesota. We'll take a look at that game real quick in terms of the targets. He had 9 targets in the game. He had 6 catches for 37 yards. So not a lot of yards in that game. But overall, I mean, he's averaging 20.5 yards after the catch. Again, that Lions game, he had a really good performance. But overall, I mean, this is a good spot. And the Bears so far this year, they've been about league average in terms of passing. 58% of their plays have been passing plays. 42% have been rushing plays. But I think in this spot, considering where the Cowboys defense currently is, riding with Rome Odunze is not a bad spot. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and take DJ Moore's over in receiving yards, I wouldn't necessarily condemn that either. But again, I'm leaning Odunze here because it seems so far he's got 9 more targets than DJ Moore, and it seems that Caleb Williams really trusts the young receiver in his second year. So DJ Moore also not a bad receiving yard prop, honestly, but I think Rome Odunze might be the slightly better play considering how much he's been targeted so far this year. So that's our second player prop I'm handing out in today's video. And I do another player prop actually from this Cowboys-Bears game to go ahead and discuss. Thoughts on his receptions. I did actually consider taking, so we'll look at that real quick. I did consider taking his reception. So the line is 4.5, which is minus 142 on FanDuel. You can go to 5.5, but now you're in plus money territory, plus 136 over on FanDuel. You can go down to 3.5, but now you're really in alt line territory, and it's minus 330. Not even worth it. Even in a parlay, it wouldn't be worth it. He has 6 catches in week 1 and 7 catches in week 2. And again, based on his targets, he's getting thrown the football a lot. So, I mean, if you were to take his 4.5 line, which is, if he got 5 catches, it would be his lowest catch total of the season. Not terrible. I just think receiving yards is a little safer of a play simply because even if he only gets 4 catches, he can get 62 yards on 4 receptions versus, maybe he has a bad day. Maybe he drops some balls. Maybe this is the game where the targets go more towards DJ Moore or Zacchaeus, or they start getting the tight end Colston Loveland more involved. Receptions is not bad. If you want to take the plus money one and maybe sprinkle something on it, I wouldn't hate it. I'm not going to put it on my card. I still think receiving yards is the way to go here. But that's not a bad one. Not a terrible one for plus money play. Bears run D is horrible. Thoughts on Javonte? Well, I'm happy, Laurent. I'm happy that you said that because my next pick that I have prepared for you guys is Javonte Williams over 64.5 receiving yards. So you did literally read my mind here. Javonte, I actually have in my fantasy. We have my friends and I. We have a big money fantasy league. It's like a $400 buy-in, which maybe for some people it's not big money, but for us it's big money fantasy football league, redraft league. It's our 7th year doing it. This is one of my picks that I made late in the draft, and he's been a godsend for my fantasy team. I have, I ended up taking him and Breece Hall late in the draft. Been a great, and I had Jahmyr Gibbs. So it's a 14-man league, pretty deep, so it gets kind of dicey on your bench. But I've got a pretty good, and we only have 1 running back starter. So, running backs are not as valued in our league compared to wide receivers. But I do have Javonte Williams here, and he's been a godsend. So over 64.5 receiving yards, minus 112 over on FanDuel. Let me go ahead and look. I see some comments here. Let's go ahead. Oh, we got a spam. We got spam. Let's go ahead and take care of that real quick before we continue. We're going to go ahead and hide this user from the channel. Hide this user from the channel. Oh gosh, there's a lot of them. All right, hide this user from the channel. Sorry guys, I'm doing it from my phone. Well, I shouldn't be doing it from the computer. I don't know why I'm doing it this way, but I'm late to the stream. Did you give your side to the game yet? Or what game in particular? We're focusing on player props, so I haven't really given too much. If you're asking about the Cowboys-Bears game, I do lean Cowboys in this spot. But yeah, Laurent, good job, man. Right on the money. I mean, you called it right before I even had a chance to put it on the screen. You were on top of that. So, I do like Javonte Williams a lot. Again, over 64.5 rushing yards, minus 112 on FanDuel. This one you can find on a lot of different sports books for varying odds. Now, we look at 2025 so far. He did cash this over last week against the Giants. He had 97 rushing yards in that game. He had 54 rushing yards week 1 versus the Eagles, but he did miss the mark by about 11 yards, but he was fairly close. Looking down below here at the run share, obviously he is far and away the top running back on this offense. 33 carries so far this year. That's a 66% run share. So very clearly he is dominating the run share here for the Cowboys, and it's not even remotely close. And Laurent obviously mentioned this Bears run defense is abysmal. Overall, they are giving up 148.5 rushing yards per game. That is ranked 27th in the NFL. Obviously, a favorable matchup here. And versus running backs, bottom 3, they are 30th in the NFL, giving up 123 rushing yards per game to opposing running backs. So, definitely a favorable matchup. And if you look down here below, these are the running backs' performances against the Bears, just looking at rushing yards. David Montgomery cashed his line. Jahmyr Gibbs cashed his line. Jordan Mason cashed his line. The only running back so far is Aaron Jones, and obviously he's splitting reps there with Jordan Mason, only at 23 yards against the Bears in week 1. But this Bears run defense obviously very, very bad. Javonte Williams far and away getting a lot of carries. Now, they are throwing the ball way more than they're running it, right? There's a 36% run rate. But considering how weak the Bears run defense is, would not surprise me to see the Cowboys take advantage of that and give the ball to Javonte Williams a healthy amount here. Again, he doesn't really need a ton of carries. He had 15 carries in week 1, 18 carries in week 2. Honestly, as long as he gets somewhere in that production, he should be able to cash this line. And again, the line's only 64.5. He had 97 rushing yards on 18 carries last week. On 15 carries, 16 carries, he should be able to get 65 rushing yards considering the state of the Bears' run defense. So for minus 112, certainly some great value there. Let's see. Javonte Williams, great parlay leg. He is a great parlay leg. Yep, 1 touchdown within some yards. I mean, touchdown play is not terrible. I don't hate that at all for Javonte Williams. If we do look at the touchdown part of it, he's only plus 100. So obviously the sport books are telling you they think he's going to get a touchdown. Now he didn't. He got 1 touchdown versus the Giants, 2 touchdowns versus the Eagles, and the Bears are giving up the most touchdowns in the league per game. Obviously, that Lions game kind of skews that number a little bit. But versus running backs, they're giving up 1.5 touchdowns per game. So his touchdown play might not be a bad one. We'll look at that later when we do our touchdown parlay. That might be a good one to throw in. Like it up, don't see Tasos up in the AM. Yeah, listen, early morning streams, man. It's gonna take some getting used to, but I like it. I'm loving the stream. I want to do more live stuff for you guys, even during the week, not just on Sundays. We're working on figuring out how to do that. Javonte receiving or rushing? I meant rushing. I apologize. I might have stumbled there and said receiving. Rushing yards, not receiving yards. If you look at the receiving yard numbers, I don't think he's as involved in the passing game. We'll go ahead and look and see it. Maybe a rushing plus receiving yard combo, but I don't think so. His line's only 14. He did have 33 receiving yards versus the Giants, though. So, I mean, he did get involved. And versus running backs, they're giving up a decent amount of yards receiving to running backs. But I think we're going to stick with just the rushing yards. He is fourth in targets, 11.8% target share. But I would just stick with rushing yards when it comes to this player prop. So that's our third pick in today's video. So I have one more player prop to go ahead and share with you guys before we go ahead and open the floor, and you guys can go ahead and give your suggestions, and I'll kind of go ahead and go through the numbers for those suggestions and add some plays to our card here. Right after I get a sip of water. All right, so just a little recap, and again, I will make sure 100% to go ahead and post these plays afterwards. Let me go ahead and write them down so I can go ahead and make sure I have them. So far, we have Jordan Mason over. Let's get over to DraftKings where I think all of them are available. Or not. But Jordan Mason over 96.5 rushing plus receiving yards. That is over on DraftKings. And we'll go back to FanDuel here. Then we have Javonte Williams over 64.5 rushing yards, which we're grabbing for minus 112. And Rome Odunze over 61.5 receiving yards, also minus 112. And then our other player prop. Now, I'll be honest, guys, the odds on this one are a little high, so I understand if you don't want to bet this straight up. This could be a good parlay leg if you guys are looking to build a player prop parlay. I'm going Trevor Lawrence to go ahead and throw an interception here. Let's see what we got saying. Fishing. You guys think CD for 80-plus receiving yards? We'll talk about that in a second. It's not a terrible one. And then, are you not concerned the books have Javonte's rushing under his average line? Well, the thing with his average line, and we'll go back to it, I mean, it's not crazy to say 64.5 because week one, he only had 54 rushing yards. And to be honest, that Giants game obviously was high-scoring overtime game. I don't think you can put his line, the sportsbooks can't put his line at 70-plus because if you look at his career numbers, or just last year, he only averaged 30 rushing yards per game with the Broncos last season. I mean, he basically has one game. If you look at the last 2 years, this year and last year, only 3 times he's gone over 65 yards. So, I mean, you can't really put his line. I know he's averaging 75.5, but that's because he had 97 yards versus the versus the Giants, excuse me. You can't put his line at 70-plus when the guy's only cashed that line 3 times in 2 years. Gosh. These bots, man. Spam bots, we gotta go ahead and take care of that real quick. Yeah, like I said, it's really just more of a matter of come on, get rid of this thing here. And hide user from the channel. Yeah, it's just a matter of I just don't think they can put the line that high. So let's see what it'll say. Well, that's just rude. Had to stop in quick to see you look like a douche. Okay, bye. Appreciate that, Tyler Amos, and we'll make sure to go ahead and hide you from the channel from now on also. So, congratulations, pal. You just lost your spot. Yep, yeah, you can go ahead. See you later, pal. I do kind of look like a douche sometimes, I'm not going to lie. All right. I showed up late to the stream, so missed the breakdown. We're still early on here. Don't worry, guys. If you missed anything so far, I'm just kind of going through some of my player props here. If you missed a couple of them, you can obviously go back and rewind the live stream and go ahead and look at that. Congrats, Tyler. Yeah, Tyler can just screw off. I really don't care. But to be fair, I mean, I told you guys at the start of the stream, I did just roll out of bed, so I do probably look a little douchey right now. I rolled it right out of bed, got upstairs, and started recording. So, totally understandable, I guess. Maybe I shouldn't have hit him from the chat. All right, let's finish up here with my final one, then we can go ahead and open the floor to you guys. So Trevor Lawrence over half an interception. Now, like I was saying, It's minus 148 on FanDuel, so a little high. I understand if you guys don't want to go ahead and bet that straight up. Totally understandable. But I do think it's worth even throwing in a parlay. It's pretty good. So far this year, he's obviously cashed the over in both games this season. He threw in a pick versus the Panthers and 2 picks versus the Bengals. So he's averaging 1.5 interceptions so far this year. In 2024, looking at last year, he only played 10 games last season, but he did cash the over in 6 of those 10 games, averaging 0.7 interceptions per game last season. And from a head-to-head perspective, obviously this being a rivalry game, the last time he played the Texans on December 1st of last year, he did throw an interception in that game. So we do have a little bit of data to go off of here. We also have the insights provided by Outlier here. By the way, guys, Outlier, shout out to them. They are obviously the tool we're using for this video. There will be a link in the description to go ahead and check them out and give you guys a 7-day free trial. They are a fantastic sports betting tool. As you guys can see from all my videos on the channel, I use them very consistently and very often. So make sure to go ahead and check them out. Trevor Lawrence has exceeded half an interception in 4 of his last 5 games at home. He's averaging just shy of an interception per game over his last 5 home games. So pretty good spot here for Trevor Lawrence. And in one of those home games was versus the Texans. Houston's defense, obviously, they have not had a great start to the year as a team, although their defense has been pretty decent. They haven't forced a ton of turnovers. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be in some trouble here. I don't trust their offensive line completely. They played 2 weak pass rushes. They played the Panthers pass rush, and I know the Bengals, they got Trey Hendrickson back, but he obviously missed most of the offseason. The Bengals defense, although they did get a decent amount of pressure on Trevor Lawrence last week, I wouldn't say he's faced an elite pass rush yet. That changes in week 3. This Texans defense should put pressure on him. He's going to be on his ass consistently. And I think he's going to be forced into making a mistake and throwing an interception in this game. This is a very strong Texans defense. Say what you want about their offense. I get it. It's been a struggle. They've been a rough team to watch. But I do think this defense is still very, very good. I think they should be able to go ahead and force Trevor Lawrence into some uncomfortable situations and throw a pick. Where's the coffee? You know what? It's funny. I got to be honest here, guys, and might be a breaking news type of thing. I've mentioned in my videos before I need coffee. I don't drink coffee. Never have in my life. Well, I've tried it before, but I hate it. I do not drink coffee. And that might be a shocking thing because I know in my past videos, like, oh, I haven't had my morning coffee. That's just kind of a figure of speech. I genuinely do not drink coffee. I am not a coffee drinker. I think it's gross. I don't drink soda either. And this is not, and everyone's like, oh, you're a health guy. No, I mean, you can't really see in the stream, but I'm not exactly the model of fitness or great health in terms of my diet. But I don't know what it is. I've never been a coffee guy, never been a soda guy. Just not my thing. But yeah, so my morning is bottles of water, and if anything, I'll drink like a hot tea. But yeah, no, not a coffee guy. Probably would help me with these morning streams if I did start drinking coffee. So maybe I'll have to go ahead and make that change late in life and just become a coffee guy now. Let's see what else we got saying here. CDs a go. Jalen Johnson, I believe Andrew's trying to say. Jalen Johnson is out and they aren't doing well. That's true. I mean, again, when I go ahead and open the floor in a second, we'll go ahead and talk about the CD Lamb prop because I've seen a couple people recommend CD at this point. So we'll go ahead and do that. Damn, Geno interception on a lock. I get that, but the Washington Commanders defense is not exactly the Chargers defense. So that one, I don't know. We'll take a look at that one after, but I actually think Geno will clean it up a little bit this week versus the Commanders. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence over half an interception. Again, minus 148 on FanDuel. Not the best value. I get that, but I do think it is a worthy spot to go ahead and take a look at or go ahead and throw it in your parlay. So those are my 4 picks that I have. I wish I had more for you guys. Next week, I'll be a little bit more prepared, and I'll make sure to have at least 5, 6, 7 player props prepped. But I did have 4 to go ahead and share with you guys. And we'll go ahead and open the floor now. Oh, here we go. I knew these were coming. All right, Kalimera. Good morning. Kalimera, of course, means good morning in Greek. Kalimera, Nightcrawler. Let's see. Oh, boy. Here we go. This is the one. I was waiting for this one because I obviously know this is obviously I guess not really a huge stereotype, but it is. Stereotypes sometimes are true when it comes to the Greeks. Your Greek heritage, you don't even drink Greek coffee. Do you piss off your Greek family because of your coffee hatred? My dad literally drinks Greek coffee every morning. Every morning he drinks a Greek coffee. When I'm in Greece, my family, my uncles, my cousins, everybody, coffee, coffee, coffee. It's always funny when I go to Greece every summer with my family, and it's always so funny when we go over there and it's like, we go in the morning for breakfast. Everybody, coffee. You have 10 of us around the table and everyone's got coffee. And I'm sitting there with my orange juice or my water. Or we'll go to a coffee shop in Greek and literally they'll be like, oh, cafe? And I'm like, okay, no thank you. No coffee for me. And it's like, oh, what's wrong with this kid? But yeah, not a coffee drinker. Love learning these little nuggets about you. Coffee's not for everyone. Yeah, it's just not, I don't know what it is. And my girlfriend, it's funny, like she tries to get me to try all like I don't know, like all the crap with all the cold foams and caramel and sugars and all the basically to the point where it's not even coffee anymore. It's like all syrups and foams and stuff. And I still don't like it. I don't know what it is. I just like that coffee taste. I can't stand it. I taste it no matter what it is. I taste it and I can't stand it. So yeah, not a coffee guy. But all right, enough about coffee. Now this is your time. So people watching the video, OJ in the morning is goated. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love OJ in the morning. It's my favorite thing. Can we do money line parlay? Yes, we will. We will definitely do a money line parlay, Passion Williams. This is your time to shine, guys. So I've given you my 4 picks. Now it's your time to go. So go ahead and give me any player prop suggestions you want to see. I know CeeDee Lamb is one that obviously I've seen a lot of you guys were talking about. So make sure to go ahead and start dropping your player prop suggestions, and we'll go ahead. Get some real espresso and cream. Keep it simple. But yeah, the problem is I can taste that coffee taste, and I can't stand it. I don't know what it is. I just can't do it. That coffee taste is just not. It's not for me. I don't know what it is. Chat a little bit. Josh. All right, here we go. So we'll do Josh Jacobs. So this is the first one. Look at Josh Jacobs rushing yards under 79. So we'll go ahead and look at that. I already have my sort of pre-thing set, like my presets that I showed you guys last week. All right, so let's go ahead and do Josh Jacobs. Whoops, sorry guys, let me go ahead and share the screen with you. That's my bad. All right, like I said, I'm going to try to get through as many as I can. So if I don't get to it right away, don't worry guys. I'm going to go back through the chat and find it. So right now we're doing Josh Jacobs under 79.5 rushing yards. So here we go. Let's see what that looks like. Josh Jacobs. All right. Load for a second here. All right, Josh Jacobs. We'll just kind of click on here because it's faster. Where's his rushing yards? There it is. Rushing yards. All right. So the line actually might be getting, what did you say? 72.5? We might actually get it a little bit better here. Oh, under 79. Okay, under 79 yards, which is what it is. We'll go down here and look. Under 79.5. You get it on no vig for minus 110. Not bad, but if you can't get it on no vig, I'll do 78.5 just because I feel like it's more, it's also no vig. So no vig, honestly, which we do have an offer, a promo code offer in the description down below. Has some better lines. Looks like the one for the public would be 77.5. So we'll do that one just so that the public can go ahead and tail it. So you guys, more people can go ahead and tail this. So under 77.5, minus 112 on FanDuel. He's cashed the under in 6 of his last 10 games, dating back to last year, but he is averaging 72.2 rushing yards per game. So it is pretty tight. He kind of hugs that line a little bit. Let's see. So far this year, 66 rushing yards in week 1 versus the Lions. He did cash the over with 84 yards versus the Commanders in week 2. But to be fair, the Commanders' run defense, honestly, is pretty solid. Look at the run share. They do run the ball a lot more than the league average, 50% run rate, which is well above the league average. They do run the ball a healthy amount. And obviously, Josh Jacobs, 42 rushing attempts. He has a 76.4% run share. So he gets a lot of work in this offense, an average of 21 carries per game. It's a lot of work there. The key thing, obviously, is the matchup. So the Browns' defense overall, 45.5 rushing yards allowed per game. That is number 1 in the NFL versus running backs. Only giving up 36.5 rushing yards per game to opposing running backs. So it's obviously pretty good. If you look at the matchups down below, I mean, they held Derrick Henry to 23 yards after he ran for like over 150 versus Buffalo. Just 23 yards last week, 43 yards versus Chase Brown in week 1. So both running backs cashed their underlines in big ways when they played Cleveland here. Do I want to put this on the card? I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's really not bad at all. Let's look at the injury. Any key injuries for Cleveland on defense? No, just their offensive lines in a shambles. We'll add it to the card. I think we can add this to the card. I think there's no reason why you shouldn't. I mean, the numbers, the only scary part of this is obviously he gets a lot of work, but so doesn't Derrick Henry for the Ravens. So, I mean, if that's the case, I don't see why. Yards up to contract 33. Pretty good there. Again, he's averaging 19 carries week 1, 23 carries week 2, 21 rushing attempts per game. He's averaging 3.6 yards per carry. I think we'll add it. We'll add it to the card. So we'll go ahead and add this one to the card. Under 70. We'll do 7. Obviously, if you have no vig, you can get an extra 2 yards off. But we'll add the under 77.5 to the card. I think the Browns' defense is so good. Their run defense is phenomenal. If you look down to the right side of the screen here, run defense right now only 45.5 yards per game. So really, really good. So good suggestion there. Let's go back and find that comment. We got the spams coming in the chat, of course. Go ahead and hide those from the channel. We'll go ahead and delete those. So that's what I was trying to do earlier, was trying to get into, so I'm not doing it on my phone, was trying to go ahead and get it on the YouTube channel. See if I can't go ahead and get in here. The live stream. Sorry guys, I know we're kind of killing the momentum here, but again, still struggling with trying to figure out the bot situation. Get rid of them. All right, so we have that one. We'll throw it. We'll go ahead and add that into the play. So let me scroll back up here and find some more. So let's do the CeeDee Lamb one. I know you guys were all asking for that earlier, so we'll go ahead and look up CeeDee Lamb. Oh, there we go, CeeDee Lamb. I think they said it was 80. Looking at like 82.5 receiving yards. Maybe you can get it for 80. Let's see. You can get it for 80.5. Oh, 79.5 minus 122 FanDuel. That one looks good. All right, so 79.5. Ooh, might be a good suggestion there. 2025. He's cashed it in both games this year. He had 110 yards versus the Eagles, 112 yards versus the Cowboys. So he's averaging 111 receiving yards per game. That's obviously very good. Insights provided by Outlier. CeeDee Lamb has exceeded 82.5 yards in 5 straight games, averaging 107.2 receiving yards over the last 5 games. And again, we're getting it at 79.5, so we're getting it even more valuable. I want to go and put a filter here, games with Dak Prescott, just to see what that looks like. All right, so games with Dak Prescott, his last 10 with Dak, he's cashed 6 of the last 10, averaging 88.2 receiving yards per game. Obviously 2-0 so far this year, so we're going to get out of there. It looks pretty good in the Bears defense. I'm going to upgrade that. They are bottom 10, bottom 11 right now, giving up 238.5 receiving yards per game versus wide receivers 24th, giving up 169 receiving yards per game. Dallas obviously is throwing the ball a healthy amount, and he has a 28.2% target share. Only Jake Ferguson and George Pickens are kind of within that striking distance, but even those guys are a little bit behind. So I don't hate this. I mean, you look at the yards here. I mean, Justin Jefferson did not catch. That's the one area where I'd be a little concerned, but that probably has more to do with J.J. McCarthy and their offensive planning for that game. We look at the Lions. I mean, everybody cashed their line. Amon-Ra, Khalif Raymond, Jameson Williams, Isaac Tesla, Jalen Nailor did cash it for the Vikings in Week 1. So I'll add it. I think it's worth adding. Minus 122 value is definitely there. So we'll go ahead and add CD. So now we're up to 6 plays, and again, we'll post all those plays afterwards. We'll go ahead and go scroll up and find some more. I know you guys are all posting. We're going to get to everybody, as many as I can get to here. Let's see. So Juwan Johnson over 44.5 receiving yards. We'll put it on there. Juwan Johnson over 44.5 receiving yards. Seattle is a plus matchup, and he's getting 10 targets a game. All right, let's go ahead and look at that one then. All right, so Juwan Johnson. All right, Juwan Johnson for the Saints. Computer's going a little slow. Apologies for that. All right, so we're looking at yards, right? That's what was the comment, was yards? Yeah, yards. Set subscribers only for chat time, limit help. Yeah, but I don't want to, the problem is I want to make sure that people can get in here, new people can get in here too, so I don't want to limit to non-subscribers, but I get what you're saying. That might have to be something to consider. All right, Juwan Johnson, we're getting it for 42.5, minus 112 on FanDuel, minus 115 DraftKings, a couple of different other options there for sportsbook plays. Let's narrow this to 2025. So 2 games this year. He's cashed the over both games. He had 76 receiving yards versus Arizona and 49 receiving yards versus San Francisco. So that's pretty good. We'll go ahead and look at that. Oh, there we go. More spam. We'll go hop on that real quick. Get rid of that. I use from channel. All right. All right, so back to this one. So he's cashed in both games. He's averaging 62.5 receiving yards per game. I want to look at that comment that he made about the targets and see how that's looking. So the Saints, they're throwing the ball above league average, which is crazy considering that Spencer Rattler's their quarterback. But I mean, when they're losing games, you got to throw the football. He is second in targets behind Chris Olave, so he's getting a 26.7% target share. That's pretty good. Look at some of the tight end performances versus Seattle. George Kittle had 25 yards. Jonnu Smith had 27 yards. Pat Freiermuth had 31 yards. So Pat Freiermuth did cash his line. And Jonnu Smith barely missed his line, to be fair. I don't know if this is a good enough matchup for me. So the Seahawks right now receiving yards, they are giving up 246 yards per game. That is bottom 10 in the NFL. Look down below here. Yeah, their passing defense leaves a little bit to be desired through 2 weeks. Versus tight ends, 54 yards per game, that is bottom 10 in the NFL. So they are giving up a healthy amount of receiving yards to the tight end position. And we look down below at the targets reception. So he had 11 targets in week 1. He had 9 targets in week 2. Pretty good catch percentages there. And he's exceeded 39.5 receiving yards in 4 of his last 5 games on the road. He's averaging 49.2 receiving yards per game over his last 5 road games. So that's pretty good. I mean, matchup seems to be pretty solid. The insight provided by Outlier confirms it's good. The one area that I get a little concerned here is the previous tight end performances. I mean, not a single tight end has gotten over 31 yards against them. Like they're giving up 54 yards per game to the tight end position, but I mean, they're not really giving up. I know the other Niners tight end's not listed here. He probably had some yards too, but not really. I mean, no one's really had a huge success. I mean, Pat Freiermuth, 31 yards is the best performance, and the line here is 42.5. I mean, now, granted, that's their targets, Pat Freiermuth targets, compared to what Juwan Johnson's getting. Juwan Johnson's getting CeeDee Lamb type targets in the Saints offense. So that's the one area of concern I have here. Where can we find all these picks? I'm going to go ahead and put all these picks in a pinned comment. So you go ahead and check that out, and I'll post on the YouTube channel to go ahead and tail. Should I go ahead and yep, okay. Damn it, another spam bot. All right, go ahead and use that. Hide that. All right. Protection's going to be weak with Andrew Thomas out. Talking about the Giants game. Oh, that's the Russell. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. All right. The Juwan Johnson one, I'm going to make an educated decision here, and you guys might disagree with it because all the data seems to be pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and not add this to the card. I don't hate it. If you're taking it, I wouldn't tell you to get off of it. I don't think it's that bad. My problem is I have a hard time with that Saints team. I don't know. And I think the Seahawks defense is legit. Spencer Rattler could be in some trouble in that game. So I'm going to go ahead and avoid that. So we're not going to add that to the card. So we'll get that one out of here. No, not a bad suggestion, though. Not a bad suggestion, but we're going to go ahead and avoid that one. Let's get the ball rolling here. Let's go back up and see what some of the other suggestions were. So we got through only a few of them so far. DJ Moore cranks up today. I mean, maybe. That's why I said it when I talked about the Roma Dunze play. Not a bad option, honestly. DJ Moore's receiving yards also not a bad play. I'm not going to add it myself because I don't really want 2 Bears receiver props. But that's not a bad one. Going back up here. Sorry, guys, going through a lot of suggestions here. Jordan Love, 2+ touchdowns. I don't really want to take anything with the Packers offense in this game. That Browns defense is tough. So I'm going to avoid that one, although I'm sure the numbers aren't terrible. I'm going to avoid that. Emeka Egbuka, anytime touchdown. We can go ahead and look up that one. Emeka Egbuka, anytime touchdown. They are playing the New York Jets. So obviously probably a bit of a favorable matchup from a defensive perspective. So his line on Novig is plus 176. You can get on a lot of different options for plus money. Chris Godwin is still out, so obviously Egbuka will be wide receiver 2 behind Mike Evans, although it's pretty close. He's got a 19.7% target share, 13 targets so far this year, so not bad. If we look at red zone targets, it's pretty close too. Mike Evans has 3, Egbuka has 2, so he's getting some looks in the end zone, in the red zone as well. The only thing is, versus wide receivers, they're giving up 1.5 touchdowns per game. That's bottom 10. Overall, the Jets defense giving up 3.5 touchdowns per game. They don't have, unfortunately, they only go back so far. So we're missing some of the Steelers receivers here. I mean, a lot of guys. I mean, Elijah Moore had a touchdown last week, but none of the other Bills guys really did a lot. I mean, that was more of a James Cook game. I don't know about this one. I don't know. I mean, on paper, it makes sense. This Jets defense right now, bottom four scoring defense. Passing yards though, they're only giving up 198.5 yards per game, which is tied for 13th. So this is not a terrible passing defense. I mean, Buka, not a bad. I'm going to go ahead and say this is another one where I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not going to add to the card. Not a bad play. Again, I don't hate it. I mean, if I were to sprinkle like a quarter of a unit on this, I wouldn't be mad. But I don't think I'm going to go ahead and personally take that. I don't know about the matchup. And then he's also hurt, which I didn't even see that. Emeka's hurting, and Baker's not good playing at home as a favorite after a win. I don't know, but yeah, I'm not going to go ahead and add that one to my card. I don't love that one. So let's keep on going here. We're going to go for like 10 more minutes, and then we'll go ahead and do some parlays, and then we'll wrap up the live stream. Going back up here. So Emeka Buka. Jacobs Under is going to be a very public play after King Henry. I agree with that, and that was something that was going through my head going through that play. But I still think the Browns' run defense is that good that I think that Josh Jacobs Under could be the play. If Buka is limited, Evan's going to have a day. Maybe. I'm going to go ahead and avoid that game, though, honestly. McCaffrey anytime touchdown. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and look at Christian McCaffrey. Excuse me. Christian McCaffrey. All right. So we're doing anytime touchdown, not over half of receiving touchdowns. So touchdowns. -160. Not worth it. Not worth it. If you want to throw in a parlay, not terrible, but not worth it. We're not going to look at McCaffrey anytime touchdown. We're not going to look at that one. We're going to avoid that. So we'll skip that. Ibuka not playing. I think he's probably playing, but I don't know if he's hurt. All right, Bijan over 81.5 yards against the Cardinals. Well, the problem is that the Falcons aren't playing the Cardinals. The Falcons are playing the Niners. So I think you mean Panthers, which honestly still isn't a bad spot. We'll look up Bijan Robinson. Wrong team, but honestly might be the right read. Bijan Robinson over one. I think he said 81, so we'll go down here 80.5, which is -115. No vig. 118 bet MGM. So anytime, whenever you guys see a player prop and you don't see on your sports book, you can usually just take a yard off or a yard added, and it's usually there. Like if you go to 81.5, it's now you see FanDuel's there, but I'm gonna go ahead and take it 80.5 because if I got it, why not? Over 80.5. So far in 2025, week 1, he only had 24 rushing yards, but then week 2 versus the Vikings Sunday Night Football, he had 143 rushing yards. So, the numbers are pretty good. Last year, he had a 65% hit rate on this line, and honestly, he closed the year off very, very strong. Head-to-head numbers, he cashed this both times he played Carolina last year. And the last time he played, he had 170 rushing yards against Carolina. They do run the ball way above league average, so that's obviously very good. And Bijan has a 50.7% run share with 34 rushing attempts, so it gets a good amount of work here. The big question is the matchup. Now, Travis Etienne had 143 rushing yards in week 1 against this team, and then last week, the Cardinals, James Conner didn't do much, Trey Benson didn't do much. They didn't really do a good job running the football last week. So overall, the Panthers are getting up 141 rushing yards per game. I'm actually going to go ahead and cross-check that real quick. Run defense. Yeah, 26th in the NFL, 141 rushing yards per game. So this is a bottom 10 run defense in the NFL. And if we look at versus running backs, give 110.5 rushing yards per game. So pretty good numbers there. Seems to be a pretty good matchup. The data is good across the board. Let's see what the insights say from Outlier. He's exceeded 79.5 in 7 of his last 8 games. He's averaging 105 rushing yards per game over his last 8 games. Oh, you can get 79.5 for -126. I'll do this one. We'll sacrifice a little value. So we're going to go Bijan over 79.5 rushing yards. So that one we're going to go add to the play. That's a good one. We'll go ahead and add it to the card. That's a good suggestion. I want to go ahead and highlight that user who set that one up. I got to go back up the list here. Oh man, we guys got a lot of suggestions. We're going to try and get through as many as we can in the next few minutes here. Right here. John Tall 124. Bijan. We did actually take a couple yards less, 79.5, but although you had the wrong team, you did have the right idea. So I like that. We'll add it to the card. Bijan Robinson over 110 rushing plus receiving. That's also not a bad one. I'm going to stick with the rushing yards, but honestly, you can go ahead and take the rushing receiving yards one too. That probably isn't a bad play either. I think he could have 100 yards on the ground, let alone whatever he does in the receiving game. Let's see, Mahomes. I just saw something with Mahomes. If I can get through all the spam comments here, which kind of take up a lot of space in the chat. Mahomes over 22.5 pass completions is a lock. 21.5 or 22.5. We'll go ahead and take a look at that real quick. Let's see, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, they definitely will be throwing the ball a decent amount in that game, I think. In my Sunday Night Football video, I have his over in passing and rushing yard combo. I think he's going to have a pretty big game there. So in order to get that passing yards, you're going to have to get completions, obviously. So this is passing attempts. Let's go ahead and find completions. Passing completions over 22.5, 21.5, which is minus 199 under. Oof. Well, we're not doing that one. So 22.5 then. All right. Minus 105 BetMGM, best odds available. So far this year, he had 24 pass attempts week 1 versus the Chargers. He had 16 pass attempts last week versus the Eagles. Last year, 58% hit rate, so 23.53 average passing completions per game. Not bad. They do pass the ball at a 63% rate, so they do pass the ball above average, above league average. The problem is they don't really have a good running game right now, so they kind of have to throw the football. The Chiefs' offense rushing yards, I mean, it's not terrible, 17th in rushing yards per game, just not super consistent. Let's see, the Giants passing completion against 69.5%, that's 26th, and then passing attempts against. So I mean, it's a favorable matchup. Through 2 weeks, teams are throwing on this Giants defense. The problem I see here is the Giants' run defense has been pretty bad. And that could mean they could lean into the running game a little bit. I don't hate it. Let's see what the insights from Outliers say. All right, he's exceeded 22.5 pass completions in 4 of his last 5 games versus bottom 10 defense for passing attempts against, averaging 24 pass completions per game average over those last 4. It's Raiders, Chargers, and Chargers. So it's basically just those 2 teams that he's had success against, and the Chargers are the other one in there in that data range. I'll go with this. I'll add it to the card. I don't mind it. I think that he's going to have a pretty big game. I think they're going to be throwing the ball a good amount here, and I think he's going to have a pretty high completion percentage. So I'll take that. It's not my favorite pick on the card, but I'll add that on there. All right, guys. I'm not going to be able to get through everybody, so I'm doing the best I can here, but I can't get through every single person. Let's see. So we did the Mahomes one. Barkley, Mason, and Pitts on a tutty parlay for plus 929 in BetMGM. Feeling good about those matchups. Saquon's playing the Rams. Pitts is playing the Panthers. The Kyle Pitts line, obviously, I think for most people would probably scare them a little bit. But not a bad lay. All these freaking spam bots are making it harder to find the... I'll just use my phone to find the comments. I feel like it'd be faster for me to scroll through here. All right, I've seen a couple of them saying Devontae Adams, so we'll go ahead and look up Devontae Adams quick here. So what are we doing on time, guys? All right, we'll do a few more minutes of this, but then we have to go ahead and finish up with our parlays because we have been going for over an hour already. So let's go ahead and see Devontae Adams. How about this? We'll end the stream at 11 o'clock. So 19 minutes. We'll keep going through a few more of these, and then we'll do our parlays, and then we'll close out the show. Devontae Adams receiving yards. Over, that's probably the best we're going to get, unless 16. Oh no, we can go 59.5 is minus 122 on DraftKings. Okay, good start. 2025 numbers so far. He had 51 yards receiving against the Texans in week 1, 106 yards last week versus Tennessee. Target share, he is the most targeted receiver, just barely. Him and Puka are like right there. They're 1A, 1B. But besides those two, no one else is getting the ball thrown their way. The Eagles' pass defense, though, is not it's pretty good. I mean, they're not getting a lot of yards. This is one. I'm going to go ahead and leave this off the card. I'm not going to put this on here. Not bad. I don't hate it. The numbers are pretty decent. He's cashed it at a 57% hit rate last year, 70% of his last 10 games. He had for minus 122. I have him on my fantasy team too, so I hope he cashes this line. He's cashed the over of 61.5 in 7 of his last 9 games, averaging just shy of 90 yards per game. So, I mean, data looks pretty good. I just don't love the matchup all that much. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to add this one. So we'll avoid that one, unfortunately. We'll go ahead and avoid that play. Let's keep going here. Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, Chiefs. That one, Devontae. Mahomes over and rushing line is a good one to keep an eye on. That's actually a good one. Zach Moore, not bad. That actually is a pretty good one. So I like that one. That's not bad. See, set subscribe. Jalen Walker, Russell Wilson reception. Carson Wentz under. I need some wide receiver picks we need today. Where can you see the full list of props? The full list of props I'm going to post after the video. So you're going to see it after the video. We'll have the full list of props as I try to get rid of all of these spam. Okay. Let's see. What else you guys got? Because I've seen a couple. You guys keep sending them in. We got a few more minutes here. Just kind of going through, trying to catch up here on some of the ones. Some of them I'm not going to go through. Let's see. Carson Wentz under 19.5 completions isn't terrible, but they may have to throw in this game a little bit. Actually, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Let's get that one. Carson Wentz, because they're, like I mentioned with the Jordan Mason prop earlier, they're not going to be throwing the football too much with him. I mean, I would be shocked if they're throwing the ball 30 plus times with Carson Wentz. We're looking at passing completions. All right, passing completions. CV plus money on is over, but we're going to take the under, which is minus 104. It's almost even odds. So the problem here with the Bengals is that passing attempts against, they're bottom of the league. Teams are throwing all over them. Passing completion against, though, is not, it's, not bad. I mean, Wentz, the problem with Wentz is there's not a lot to go off of because he did play a little bit for the Chiefs last year, but he didn't do much for the Chiefs last year. To be fair, though, look at the attempts in those games. Besides the Denver game, he threw a maximum of 17 attempts, but this game he's obviously going to start and play a healthy amount. I don't know. I'm avoiding it. It's honestly not bad. I don't hate it. I'm avoiding it because this Bengals pass defense is pretty bad, so I would not be surprised if they go ahead and throw it a little bit more than I expect. So it's not bad, but I'm gonna avoid it. Carson Wentz under 19.5. Like I said, not bad. If you guys do go ahead and put it on the card, I wouldn't be mad. But I just, personally, I'm going to go ahead and avoid that one. Locked in with Bo. Please, I need your help. Let's go find that comment. Please, I need your help. Find that one through all the nonsense in here. All right, not by nonsense, I mean all the spam, not you guys commenting. Please, I need your help. Pick 2: Tootin, Harvey, Downs, Najee, and Woody. Is that Josh Downs from the Colts? Woody. I wouldn't take Najee Harris because he's playing the Broncos. I also wouldn't take Harvey because he's playing the Chargers. So there's 2 that you can eliminate right away. If it's Josh Downs, I would do Josh Downs. And then, honestly, that's obviously a toss-up between Woody and Tootin. But definitely not Harvey or Najee, I would say. A.J. Brown over 62.5 receiving yards. No, sorry, not that one. I'll get to you in a second, though. I got to highlight that for a second. Come on now. A.J. Brown over. Now, to be totally fair, the Lamb one I like. We obviously already have CeeDee Lamb on our betting card. A.J. Brown, he may go for 150 yards in this game, but I would never take it because this team does not throw the football well at all right now. So I'm going to avoid any Eagles passing props until I see something because at this point you're just firing shots in the dark with that Eagles passing offense. So nope, we're not going to add A.J. Brown. I'm not even going to look at it. Adunze, we already kind of looked at Adunze. I did his receiving yards. Reception's not bad either. Bucky Irving over 97.5 rushing / receiving. That one I will look at. That one we'll take a look at. So Bucky Irving, rushing plus receiving yards. So let's go through. He's actually had a pretty good year too so far. So let's go ahead and find that. Rushing plus receiving yards. There it is. 93 and a half. We can probably go ahead and find a better line though if we go ahead and look. 93 and a half probably is the way we're going to go with it. So 93 and a half. You can go ahead and lower to 89 and a half, but now you're at minus 150. So, I mean, not a bad parlay bet. Let's see. So far this year, he had 45 rushing plus receiving against Atlanta, but although their run defense has actually been pretty good so far. And then Houston, he actually had a really big game, 50 receiving yards, 71 rushing yards. The Jets right now, overall, 24th in the NFL in rushing yards allowed per game, 12th in receiving yards. Versus running backs, they are giving up a healthy amount of rushing yards, but not so much receiving yards. So, what I recommend instead, I would not recommend that line necessarily from a numbers perspective. I don't hate the rushing yards one. If we go ahead and go to 69 and a half, minus 119 on DraftKings, now you're a little bit better. I mean, it was a narrow cash in week 2, but they are obviously is a better matchup. You see there, 24th in rushing yards allowed, 25th in rushing yards allowed per game to the running back position. A little bit of a better spot. Look down below here. James Cook obviously had a massive game last week. Kenneth Gainwell cashed his over. Although the Steelers running game, I don't really trust them entirely right now. I'll go with Bucky Irving. So you suggested was rushing receiving yards. I'm not going to go that route. I will go with just the rushing yards route there. But wow, so we have 9 picks on our card, and like I said, we will go ahead and add these afterwards, so you guys can go ahead and look at all of them. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and give one more. I'll give one more pick, and then we're gonna do our parlay. All right, one more pick, and then we're gonna do our parlay. So let's see what we're gonna do here. So I see Ramondre Stevenson over 60 and a half rushing. Is that 60 and a half rushing and receiving? Let's go ahead and take a look at that. And that'll be this will be our last one we look at, and then we'll just kind of go into the parlay portion of the video. All right, Ramondre Stevenson. You can actually get it for 57 and a half rushing receiving for minus 114 on FanDuel, so a little bit better odds there. He cashed at a 67% hit rate last year, and obviously he had a massive game against Miami last week, 88 receiving yards, 54 rushing yards, but then week 1 versus the Raiders, he did a whole lot of nothing. So kind of a toss-up there. Now the Steelers overall this year, they're 28th in rushing yards allowed, 25th in receiving yards allowed. Versus the running backs, they're second worst run defense in the NFL right now in terms of yards per game. However, not really giving up a ton of receiving yards. And that's kind of the problem here, is that the majority of the damage he did last week was in the receiving yard category. He had 88 receiving yards. A lot of those came on, like he had one big, I forget what the yardage was on that longest catch, but he had one catch that was like 50 yards. I mean, yeah, yards after the catch, 63. So the problem, and the line is low. It's only 57 and a half, to be fair. You know what? We'll take it. We'll add it just simply because I think the Steelers' run defense has some issues, and I do think he should be able to go ahead and get somewhere in the ballpark of 50 rushing yards in this game. If that's the case, if he can get like 10 receiving yards, I don't think it's a bad play. And obviously, Trayvon Henderson not getting as much work in this offense as we probably thought. So yeah, LaRon Ferguson, I do like your play. We're going to add to the card. LaRon having a good day. He obviously talked about the Javonte Williams prop earlier. Now the Ramondre Stevenson prop. So he gave me 2 of them. Although the Javonte one I technically had before you suggested it. So not exactly I took off of yours. But hey, great minds think alike. So we've got 10 player props on our card. I think it's a pretty good number of player props. Again, I will go ahead and post these all when we finish live streaming. Now, that's out of the way. We've got less than 10 minutes to go here before I end the stream. Let's do a parlay. So we're good at this point now. With all due respect, and I love you guys so much. Appreciate all of you guys sending in your plays. Let's switch gears now. I want touchdown plays. So any touchdown player props, send them my way right now. Any touchdown props, I'll give you guys a couple seconds here to kind of flood the chat with your picks. Give me your suggestions for touchdown props. And we'll go ahead and we'll build a little parlay. I'm looking for 4 legs. I want a 4-leg touchdown community parlay. And then we'll also do, because I saw a couple times suggested, we will do a money line parlay also, and we'll finish up with the money line parlay. I'm sure you will watch that game online from Screen Variety TV. That just got you a one-way ticket to Blockville, because no, I will not. I don't know what Screen Variety TV is, Jerome. All right. LaRon, you've been my guy this stream. Let's see if we can keep me going here. Jonathan Taylor. And then you also said Bijan. Jonathan Taylor, they're playing the Titans defense. Don't love that one as much. I do not hate Bijan, so let's go ahead and look at Bijan to score a touchdown here. All right, Bijan Robinson. We obviously already have his rushing yards line, so obviously I like the matchup to begin with, so we don't have to do as much research. We know it's a pretty decent spot there. Let's see what his touch. Oh, minus 195 is less than ideal. No, Bijan, I can't add to the card. Not worth it, and honestly, the defense is pretty damn good, so I not worth it. But good suggestion though. T.J. Hawkinson. T.J. Hawkinson. Okay. I'll look that up. I don't know if that's going to be a great one. Again, we're trusting Carson. Remember, Carson Wentz is throwing the football, so that's the one area where I'd be a little concerned. T.J. Hawkinson, anytime touchdown. It's plus 310. I mean, the value is certainly there. The Bengals right now giving up 2.5 touchdowns per game versus tight ends. They haven't given up a touchdown to a tight end yet this year. So I'm going to go ahead and say no because it's Carson Wentz, and that's a little tidbit there. So we're going to go no with that. Jahmyr Gibbs. Who are the Lions playing? The Ravens? That's not a bad one. But the problem with Gibbs is, I can tell you right now, it's going to end up being like minus 190 for him to score a touchdown. And that's the problem. Jahmyr Gibbs anytime touchdowns, minus 120. They're giving up one touchdown per game to running backs. Dylan Sampson and James Cook both had one. Yeah, I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is always a good bet. He cashes at a 78% hit rate last season. So obviously it's always a good bet to take Jahmyr Gibbs touchdowns. Only 4 times last year, including playoffs, he failed to get a touchdown. So far this year, no touchdown against Green Bay. He had 1 against the Bears. I'll throw him on the card because the Ravens defense obviously right now, they're giving up 3.5 touchdowns per game. That Bills game showed you can run on them a little bit. And obviously the thing with Jahmyr Gibbs is he's using the passing game also. So that's our first leg. So we have 1 leg so far. Jahmyr Gibbs anytime touchdown. So now let's go ahead and we need 3 more. Yeah, no, that's heavy. Yeah. Bijan Kenneth Walker was one that suggested. We'll look at that in a second. CeeDee Lamb anytime touchdown from Rich Valley. We'll go ahead and give you guys your shout outs here. CD, we do his receiving yards prop, so we'll look at that in a second. Josh Bijan, Derek. Problem is you can't just keep going with the same with the regular guys every week because they're not going to score every week. Get these spam bots out of here. Sayonara. All right. Josh Jacobs. I'm not taking Josh Jacobs because that Browns defense scares me. Jordan Mason, LaRon, maybe redeem yourself here because we do obviously have Jordan Mason. I think he's going to have a big game. That's one of the picks I gave you guys, right? Jordan Mason. I do want to see what the Bengals touchdowns allowed numbers look like, though, real quick. Let's see. Jordan Mason, touchdown, over. He's minus 115. So the books are telling you this is a pretty good one, although he hasn't had a touchdown in what seems like forever. The Bengals are giving 2.5 touchdowns per game versus running backs 1.5. We'll throw him on the card. All right, so we got 2 legs here. Good job, LaRon. You've been my guy this stream. You've been my trusty hand to go to, and you did not fail to disappoint here. Jordan Mason, anytime touchdown. So that's 2 so far. That's 2. I saw Nico Collins. I saw that one just popped up. I'm going to go ahead and look that up because I do think the Texans are going to be better today against that Jaguars defense. So Nico Collins. So we got Jahmyr Gibbs and we got Jordan Mason so far for touchdowns. So now we look at Nico Collins anytime touchdown. It's plus 130 if we're using DraftKings, which I usually do. Jaguars are giving up 1.5 touchdowns per game. 2 wide receivers. Looking down below, Michael Tinsley had a touchdown, Jamar Chase had a touchdown, and T. Higgins had a touchdown. So they're top guys. I don't know if you include Michael Tinsley in there, but Chase and Higgins both had touchdowns last week. Week 1, that's the Panthers, though. No touchdowns. Does Nico Collins have one yet this year? He did have one last week. He had one last week versus the Bucks. If we look at the target share, he is the most targeted, 28% target share. He does spread the wealth a bit, but Nico Collins is 1. And if we look at the red zone targets, Nico is 1 and 80% target share. So that's not a bad one. We'll put a pin in that one. That's not a bad one, though. That's not a bad one. All right, we need 2 more legs. That one we'll put a pin in. I might put that one. Jalen Hurts touchdown, tight game, most likely, quick QB rush or tush push, highly likely. The problem with Jalen Hurts is his line is going to be like minus 150, and then it's like if he doesn't get a touchdown, it's like, why do we do it? Odunze, Taylor, and CD. Yeah, taking a touchdown there might not be, in that game, obviously, is not a horrible idea. The question is, who do you take? I think CD Lamb probably is a bad option. Josh Jacobs, again, I'm not going with Josh Jacobs because of that Browns defense. It's just not worth the risk on that one. Musgrave, the Packers' second tight end. I know Tucker Kraft is banged up, but no. Javonte we already have in the parlay, so that's already in there. So we have Jahmyr Gibbs. Oh no, do we have Jahmyr Gibbs? It was Jahmyr Gibbs and Javonte, right? Or no, we didn't do. Who did we do for a touchdown? I'm already forgetting what we did here. It was Jordan Mason. Okay, so Javonte. So we have Jordan Mason. Sorry guys, Jordan Mason. We got a lot of player props in here. Jordan Mason, and we have Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't want to go Javonte for touchdowns. I think we're going to go CD Lamb. I see a lot of people saying CD. Let's go ahead and look at CD Lamb here. What his touchdown line looks like. Close this, push this away. CD Lamb touchdown. I want over. I want him anytime touchdown. It's barely plus money, but you have 5 touchdowns per game, 2.5 the wide. Yeah, we'll go CD Lamb. So that's 3 legs. So we need one more leg here. G Durbo saying Pat Mahomes. That's got to be a rushing touchdown, obviously. CD definitely scoring from Rich Valley. So we're going to go CD. Dobbins revenge game. Saturnino, love the name, by the way. I'm not trusting that at all. No offense. Odunze, Tucker Kraft, Taylor C. So CD Lamb we did. Media has been saying Chase Brown. G Durbo really likes Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes. Primetime game too. Primetime moment. Let's see. Oh, well, I gotta do Patrick Mahomes, I guess. Pat Mahomes. Quarterback rushing touchdowns is always risky. He's big plus money too. But he has scored a touchdown in both games this year. He scored in both games. And if you look at the red zone rush, the rush attempts, he's third in run share, 30.2% run share. They don't run the ball a lot. And then red zone rush attempts, he's number 1. So when they get in the red zone, he runs it quite a bit. Plus money too. I could really take this parlay to big heights. What do you guys think? You know what? This is. I'm gonna throw it in the chat. You guys like it or don't like it? Let me hear what you guys think. I'm leaning to taking this one. I think this could be our 4th and final leg because it's gonna take that parlay value up a notch. And the numbers are pretty good. You guys let me know. I'm gonna give you guys like 1 minute to go ahead here before I got 2 minutes left on the stream. Let me know what you guys think. Sound off, guys. I need comments. Let's go. What do you guys think? Pat Mahomes or no? Do you want to keep looking or do you want Pat Mahomes? What do we think? What do we think? Rich Valley saying, trust me, Juju. As a Patriots fan, you're asking me to trust Juju Smith-Schuster is a big ask. No from Burning. Yeah, he's basically a running back for that terrible running game. Obviously, G Durbo, I know you like it. You suggested it. He's basically a running back for that terrible running game. You're saying yeah. Saturnino saying keep looking. All that jazz says go for it. Yeah, again, like mix, half and half. Mental Edge says Kelsey. Travis Kelsey actually isn't a bad one, if I'm being honest. Travis Kelsey's not a bad one. He's sketchy from Meaty Mitts. She's plus 450. He's fat. Angry Yo-Yo says yes again. Yup, he's sketchy. It's really 50-50 at this point. Rich Valley, man. Just for the determination, I will go Juju. I'll look at Juju for you, but I'm gonna tell you right now, the odds of me taking Juju Smith-Schuster here are not high, but I might be persuaded. I could be persuaded. LaRon, my boy LaRon said no, so I don't know. LaRon's been my guy this stream. I might have to go with what he says. Juju Smith-Schuster, it's also very high. Not as high as Pat. Over 3.5. Guys, I think Travis Kelce might be the play because I'm looking. They're giving up 3.5 touchdowns per game. They're giving 1.5 to the wide receiver. So where is the tight end? It's going to be tight end, isn't it? Well, Zach Ertz had one. Nobody in the Cowboys had a tight end. Nobody in the Cowboys tight ends. The running backs had some decent. So they're giving us some decent rushing touchdowns there. Miles Sanders had one. Javonte had one. Krosky Merritt had one. So they're giving up some touchdowns on the ground. Juju so far this year, no touchdowns. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rich Valley. Rent-free. Rich Valley, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know you really are high on this one, but he's got 8 targets through 2 games. Tyquan Thornton is a better bet at this point than Juju Smith-Schuster. I just can't do it. Let's see red zone. Maybe red zone target to change my mind. He doesn't have a single red zone target. Hollywood Brown's not a bad one. Travis Kelce, again, not a bad one. Sorry. I just can't do it. The LaRon Don, I like that. He's been consistent for Patty. Where has he been consistent? He has no touchdowns this year. He had 2 touchdowns all of last season with the Chiefs. He had 2 touchdowns all last year. And he had a grand total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red zone targets in... How many games did he play last year? 17 games with the Chiefs. He came in. I remember the Pats cut him, and then he came over. I don't know if that's. I don't know if that's. We will revisit. I think we put a pin in that one for a future game, but this is not the spot. Rich Valley, I appreciate the determination. I appreciate that you're high on it, but I'm going to go ahead and avoid that one. Availability. I mean, he's available, but he's not doing much with the availability. We'll put a pin in that maybe next week. Alberto's saying Mahomes for any time. Guys, you know what? Scared money don't make no money. Let's do it. If this hits, I gotta give credit to where's my guy. Just because you hear his name a lot doesn't mean he's been reliable. I mean, he just hasn't. The numbers don't suggest that he's been reliable for a touchdown perspective. Where is my guy? I gotta give the guy who actually suggested this the shout out, because if this hits and this line hits, I'm gonna be in your debt forever. G Durbo. He's the one that was high on Mahomes. We're gonna go with it. We're gonna do it. Pat Mahomes, anytime touchdown. It's our 4th leg. All right, we're gonna throw that on there. It's confirmed. It's finalized. It's done. That's the parlay. That's the parlay. All right, let's go ahead and plug this in the DraftKings and see what it comes up from an odds perspective. This is good. I like this one. I like this one a lot. Juju's not big enough. Not big enough. Yeah, I don't know. For sure, came in late. What are we looking at for the moment? G Durbo, my guy. I hope you're right. For all of our sakes, I hope you're right here. All right, so let me go ahead and share this screen with you guys real quick. I'll stop staring this one. Let's share this one, and we'll kind of go through what the odds are. I'm going to put it right, Alberto, I got you right now, my man. I'm going to put it right now. All right, we'll share the DraftKings screen. Remember, bet responsible. All right, these are all of our picks, so click that out. No, not that one. All right, there you have it. Jahmyr Gibbs, anytime touchdown. Jordan Mason, anytime touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, anytime touchdown. And G Durbo, man, I hope you're right on this one. Patrick Mahomes, anytime touchdown. You parlay all 4 together on DraftKings. It's plus 3,190. Rich Valley. I'm not trying to be a hater, but it is very funny. You said Mahomes wrist, Patty hurt the wrist. If he is hurt, why would I then take his touchdown to Juju Smith-Schuster if his wrist is hurt? I would rather take him in a running prop than a passing prop if his wrist is hurt. What is this? I'd rather anytime touchdown from Uncle Rico than Patty Mahomes. Listen, Uncle Rico anytime touchdown would be like minus 250. All right? If Uncle Rico was in the NFL, it'd be minus 250 anytime touchdown. That guy could throw footballs over a mountain. He could run faster than cheetahs. All right? That's funny. That was a good one. All right, so 4-leg parlay. Patrick Mahomes, anytime touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, anytime touchdown. Rich Valley, you got the script. Rich Valley, you know what? If you're right on this, I'm going to give you a personal bet between you and me. We're going to put the stakes here. If I win, if Juju Smith doesn't score a touchdown, I get nothing because I think it's the fair way to go about this. If Juju Smith-Schuster scores a touchdown, I'll give you a $25 Amazon gift card. How about that? Because I like this now. I feel like you're so committed to it that I have to get involved in some way. I have to be involved in some way, shape, or form on this Juju line. So that's my personal guarantee. I have your name. I got your information from YouTube in terms of how to get in touch with you. All right? If Juju Smith-Schuster scores a touchdown in this game, and I'm wrong, and you've been right, and you got it, I'm giving you a $25 gift card. How about that? Personal challenge between me and you. Because listen, you're very passionate on the line. So if you're that passionate about it, I got to go ahead and at least check it out. But I'm not going to bet it. I'm not going to bet the opposite of it. You got $50 on it. That's why. All right. Well, then that makes sense. Then you got some investment on there. So, like I said, I'll go ahead and bet against you here. Now, I don't want anything if Juju Smith doesn't score a touchdown. I don't want anything in return. Just make sure you keep watching the videos. That's all I ask. But if Juju doesn't score a touchdown, I'll give you a $25 Amazon gift card, and that'll be kind of like my wager to you. So I don't get anything. I don't need anything back just because I don't think it's going to hit. But you are so confident on it, I feel like I have to challenge you here. So that'll be my challenge with Rich Valley. But again, one more time, guys, if you guys are late to the stream, that is our community anytime touchdown parlay. Jahmyr Gibbs, Jordan Mason, CeeDee Lamb, and Patrick Mahomes, all anytime touchdown. And again, the odds right now are plus 3,255. So pretty good numbers there. And I did promise someone earlier in the stream that I would go ahead and do a moneyline parlay. Pollard, all right, Tim, Pollard Swift, trust me this one time. You're asking me, Tony Pollard from the Titans and DeAndre Swift on the Bears. You want me to trust those two teams and an anytime touchdown parlay? Tim, I don't trust you this time. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I don't trust you this time. Unfortunately, I just can't trust that. LaRon, my boy LaRon, it is a winning day. All right, it was definitely. I think we're gonna have a winning day today. All right, one last thing, guys, before we come off, because this is. I said I want to do a 1 hour stream, and now we're over an hour and a half. I love talking to you guys. Moneyline parlay, real quick. We'll do it. I'm not gonna spend much time here on this one. Let's go ahead and share the screen one last time. Man, these streams, I got to figure out how to make them shorter because we go on for way too long. Way too long. All right. Sharing the screen here. Anytime touchdown, excuse me, moneyline parlay. Let's see. All right. You guys want some dogs? Can you post this moneyline? I'll post a moneyline parlay. The coffee's kicking in. I'm getting energized here. It's not coffee anymore. It's Earth's natural coffee, aka Poland Springs water, which isn't natural water, but water. All right, guys, moneyline parlay, not spread parlay. Moneyline parlay. What do we like? Because I know what I like. What do you guys like? Let me hear what your thoughts are, and then we'll wrap up. I'll give 5 more minutes of this. Colts, Falcons, Rams with the upset. LaRon, my guy. I like what you're thinking because I do like those lines. I think Colts do win. I think Falcons win. And the Rams one would be the risky one, but I do have Rams spread. I gave it out in the Oracle, so don't hate that. All right. Can I give you guys mine? And then you guys can suggest Vikings money line. Thank me later. Falcons money line. Thank me later. I'm telling you guys, Texans money line. And you want one more leg, I'll give you one more leg. I'll give you one more leg. Are you ready for this one? Boom. Cardinals money line. You're welcome. You're welcome. 4-leg parlay. Moneyline parlay. We'll go ahead and add it to DraftKings, see how it comes out. Chargers over Broncos. He's going to trust me next week when Pollard Swift not only gets touchdown, but first team touchdowns. Tim Akers, do you know what that would pay out? I might ride it. If you're this confident, I might throw $10 on it because you know what? You seem wildly confident. First team touchdown. That's crazy. For Uncle Rico's sake. I will make sure for Uncle Rico's sake I post these. All right. Worcester, Mass in here. Not far from me, my man. Like an hour away from where I live. Not far. Minnesota's free. I agree, Rich Valley. We can agree on that. Minnesota is free money. 49ers, Titans, 49ers, Chargers. A lot of people saying 49ers, but unfortunately, I don't have the 49ers. So that's that touchdown. Sure, go ahead and take a pic of that real quick. All right, so we're looking at what would be, get rid of all these other plays in here real quick, and then we're going to get off. So Vikings money line, Falcons money line, Texans money line, and Cardinals money line plus 896 4-leg parlay. I'm telling you guys, 49ers are going to have a good, I do like all those but the Vikings. I'm telling you, the Eagles, not the Eagles, I'm sorry. I had Carson Wentz on the brain. Vikings going to go off. McCarthy's doo-doo. It's more or less, I just think the Bengals are going to have a rough time. That Vikings pass rush is going to put Jake Browning on his ass consistently. Colts, Falcons, Bucks, Eagles. Don't hate that one either. But, all right, guys. So, all of these plays will be posted. I will make sure to post them all. I know I said that last week. I didn't do it. I'm literally, the minute I end the stream here, I'm going to go ahead and plug them all in, and I'm going to post them. But that's it. So, I have 10 player props. I've got the 4-leg touchdown parlay, and I'll also throw in the money line parlay, although it's not a player prop thing. I'll throw that in the picks sheet as well. So that's it for me this week, guys. Again, very, very, and I agree. Hey, easy money. I 100% agree with you there. Easy money. We got to figure out how to make these streams shorter because an hour and 40 minutes is longer. I wanted to go shorter than last week, and we went longer. But listen, you guys give good picks, and I love talking with you guys. So that's it for me this week. Thank you again. My second time ever going live here on YouTube. Again, still work in progress, still trying to figure out some things, and we're still learning as we go. But I appreciate everyone who's been supporting, who joined the chat today. My boy LaRon, shout out to you. Shout out Rich Valley for the ballsy Juju Smith-Schuster play. Shout out G Durbo, a couple of the guys who were very active in the chat and helped us out today. Appreciate that. But yeah, that's it, guys. Until next week. Next week, one little note, it might change. I do have some other obligations next Sunday, so I don't exactly know what time I'm going to go live, for how long, but I'll make sure to go ahead and update you guys on that. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. Enjoy your NFL Sunday. Kickoff starts in less than 2 hours. Enjoy your week. Enjoy the NFL. And of course, like we always say, let's go ahead and make some money on a Sunday, baby. Let's go. Big day, plenty of opportunities. Let's go ahead and cash me. Last comment, you're my hero. You guys are my heroes. Thank you for going ahead and sitting and watching me talk for an hour and 40 minutes. I appreciate you guys. But yeah, we'll catch you next time. Until then, hope you're all